You are now watching the longest and the most detailed narration and commentary style tutorial video of SimCity 4 by CodeGX422.
Hello everyone, welcome back to my 6th episode of my SimCity 4 tutorials. First of all, I would like to thank you all for the warm support you all have given me for making this whole series of SimCity 4 commentary style tutorials. I'm very happy that you all enjoyed the series and all my very long and lengthy commentary series about how to play this game. Even though it's very technical, but I believe you all have learned a lot about how to play this city. And I would like to invite you all to share these videos, and I really hope that more people will find it easier to learn this game, especially after watching my tutorials, because I believe I have put in a lot of effort in making this series of tutorials, and I've covered a lot of aspects of the game that many SimCity 4 players have not really covered in their own YouTube tutorial videos. So I really hope that these videos can reach out to the masses and help all of you all to play this game. And also, I'm very happy to know that my first series of the tutorial is now at the first page of the YouTube videos, where people type in the keyword SimCity 4 tutorial. So this may be a sign that more people are going to watch my tutorials, and I'm very glad to know that. Today we shall be going on the many features of the SimCity 4 that I haven't really covered in the past few tutorials. This will be the technical features of the game that you'll probably enjoy, and I'm going to show you right now. First of all, you click this sun button, which is the God mode, and you can check out these 4 features that I haven't really explained because they are not really important. You can see this crescent and the sun symbol, which means the day and night feature. You can click the day only button to ensure that your city is always very bright. This is the best when you expand your city and the visibility here is higher, so you can see the buildings better in the day. And you can also click the night button to enjoy your city when it's at night, especially if your city has developed to a state like mine where there's a lot of high-rise buildings. Then you get to enjoy many of these nice night lights that the big buildings have. And also you can click this day and night cycle, which will probably make your city run through days and nights. That means the city will go from morning to night and so on. And you can also check out the other buttons which I won't recommend you to press. This includes the obliteration of the city. If you really don't like your city, you can always click this to erase all your city, what you have built, and rebuild a new city, but this is an irreversible process. You can also click this to reconcile the edges of the city to ensure that this plot of land is in line with the other plots of land, which is your neighboring cities, and there's no huge terrain differences between these pieces of land. And of course, you can also check out the disaster button, which I won't really click now. You can click on them and see what happens. They are pretty self-explanatory. And one more thing is the planting of trees in your city. I haven't really shown you this, but actually you can plant trees in your city. If you click the landscape tools and then the tree button, you have a selection of trees here. You can select, for instance, oak trees that you can plant along the grass patches of the city. Although it's very difficult to plant in your buildings because they are very dense and there's no free space for these trees, but if you realize that you have many grass patches that you are not really using, you can always plant these trees. Because trees, unlike parks, have no maintenance costs, but they also help in increasing the land value of the region and also reducing pollution. And of course, you can also place these trees inside the parks itself if there's any space, so that the effect of the parks and perhaps flower gardens have a greater impact on the community around them. And one more thing I would like to share you is now that the city is very old like mine, it's almost 90 years old, you must remember to check your water pumps and the power stations. As you can see here, even though I've already replaced these water pumps, But for your city, you need to demolish the water pumps that are very old. Water pumps have a lifespan of around 60 to 70 years old. After that, they will begin to have a lower capacity. As you can see here, the capacity will drop every year. And when it drops to a dangerously low level, then it's time for you to demolish them and rebuild it. And similarly for waste to energy plants, you also need to demolish it. They have a lifespan of around 40 to 50 years before you realize that local funding keeps increasing in order for the plant to have the same efficiency. So you must always replace all these plants to save money and have the maximum effect. And as you can see here, same thing for coal power plants. You need to demolish them every 50 or 60 years or so and rebuild them. And now, one of the things that I always do is that you must always check your data views. You must check the coverage of your city or the educational facilities. And as you can see here, my city has grown a lot since I've started this tutorial, and actually I've run this city for quite a while before I started recording this. So as you can see, I've already replaced the older schools with a large school over here to serve more Sims, and because the population is very huge, so you have to place large elementary schools to cover a huge area. And right now I have 2 large elementary schools. This is the old one. And when you build a lot of elementary schools, you have the privilege of building private schools, and you must not waste them. You must always check that the private schools that you put have a very good residential coverage. That means as many Sims as possible will get to enjoy the private schools coverage, which will be denoted by the ring area shown around here. So placed in very densely populated places, like you can see, this private school is working really well. There's no issue with excess capacity or the over usage of the school for private schools because they are privately funded. So this will help to elevate the stresses of your public schools that you have. So put these private schools as soon as possible if you have them. And you must check out the health coverage also. As you can see, my city has developed by a lot. So I've actually put 3 hospitals in strategic places so that they cover as much of the city as possible. And when you put more hospitals, remember to lower your funding and check the funding respectively so that each of them are funded well. As you can see here, these are not very well funded, so I need to increase the funding and ensure that the Sims have good health coverage, but yet do not waste too much money on providing too much capacity. And you can check the police and fire coverage to ensure that most of the Sims are well covered. It's alright to have some gaps in between like this one because there's a problem sometimes with the circular coverage of police stations. You need to put a lot more police stations to cover the entire city, so it's better to put less and leave some gaps if there's really no choice. But take note, there are some places where there's always a lot of crime, like the university is here, and also the country club, which has a lot of crime, and lastly the airport here, which I placed. So remember to cover these areas properly with police stations nearby. And also similarly for the flammability and coverage area, just try to make sure that most of the city is covered even though there's some gaps around here. You do not need to put fire station in between these gaps because it's a waste of money and there's overlap of coverage, which is very expensive and not good for your finances. And as usual, there's also some areas that have high flammability like coal power plants and so on, and also many older industrial buildings, so do take note of that. And also you can check out the rewards due as your city grows quickly. I've already placed a lot of rewards due the buildings when before I run this video. So as you can see here, I have one of these rewards and opportunities due here, which is a advanced research center. This will help to boost the demand for high-tech industries, and it also provides some jobs for the Sims, and you will lower the capacity of the high-tech and I think the high-tech industries that the city can have. And as you can see here, we have some choices here. There's a toxic waste dump. Do not build these because this will cause a lot of pollution for a pretty moderate income, not very good for a city, and the mayor ratings will drop as well. And I do not like to build casinos because it invites crime and also reduce your mayor rating. And of course, you have already built a mayor's house, which will increase the mayor rating. Build many house of worship to reduce the capacity of your the residential houses that you can have, because when you build more houses of worship, then more residential housing can come in, and the demand of the residential houses will increase among other things, and you also increase the desirability nearby for nice houses like this Sunday building over here. And similarly for cemeteries, they have a great effect of reducing the pollution level, so I always place them near industrial estates. And also, I don't really think Sims like to live near cemeteries, so you place them around industrial estates where there's more pollution. And I've already covered private schools that reduce the usage for public schools. And you can also have a marina if your city has a lot of water pools. A farmer's market if your city has a lot of farms, which will increase the demand for commercial shops and boost your economy. And you can read about other things like a lighthouse and a country club that I've already placed here, which will reduce the capacity, reduce the cap for the high wealth residents, so that more high wealth residents can come in. And of course, the university that helps to increase the education levels of the Sims by a lot. And similarly for the art museum, and a radio station that increase the mayor rating, and of course stadiums as well here. And you can have a main library if you have many libraries in your city. And right here we have more house of worship, statues that increase the mayor rating. So it's around the same things for these civics, and this will all help to make your city look prettier. And you can build a disease research center to increase the life expectancy of your Sims. Opera house to add culture to a Sim life. It will explain in every rewards deal that you have. And I can build a convention center that will help to reduce the cap on the of the commercial offices that I can have, so that more offices will grow. And similarly for television studios, and build a zoo for more recreation. City hall, a courthouse helps to reduce the crime of the city. And there's a lot more things that you can check out. You have a major league stadium that will help to boost business and give more customers to nearby shops and around the city. And similarly for movie studio. And if your city grows a huge number, remember to build a stock exchange if there's a lot of commercial offices, so that it will help to attract more huge commercial offices to your city. Like I can show you one, like this building here, Maze Co. And one of the taller buildings I have here is this, the Tallinn Tower Suits, which has 1,600 workers. So building stock exchange will help to increase the demand for this type of huge buildings. And of course, advanced research center that I show you for high-tech industries, and a spaceport. Alright, now that I explained the rewards deal, I want to show you one more thing. This is the My Sim mode. As you can see, I already placed some Sims in nice houses. The good thing about placing My Sims is that you get to know your city better and have a more ground view of how the city is functioning. As you can see here, if you click this tab here, they'll tell you what the Sims want to tell you about their lives. For instance, down here in this place, the school coverage is very weak because Agnes demands a local school. And you can also see this often if your police station coverage is very good. That means your Sims feel very safe. And also there's nice commercial shops nearby, even though they may need to have some improvement about the family diner. So you can read up about their news for each Sim. And you can check out their age and their homes, their wealth. This often reflects how the city is functioning. If your city is very poor and has little maturing and growth, your Sims will often end up as low-paid workers with poor health and education coverage. And if a city has a lot of opportunities, they'll often end up in very nice buildings like this, and with good employers, good jobs. But as you can see here, the health coverage is very poor, probably because it's far away from the hospital. So to put a new SIM, you just need to click this and choose a SIM, and you can move in your SIM to a new house. Just click on a house that you want them to live in, and all this will be alright. So that's all for the My Sims tab. And if you haven't realized, my city has run for around 90 years already. I've actually expanded the city by quite a bit. As you can see here, there are very new industrial regions around this region, and there's a lot of transport networks like avenues, train stations, railway tracks, and I've successfully placed the railway tracks around every portion of my city. Whenever I expand my city, I will never fail to reach out the railway tracks and expand them so that it reaches out to all the regions. As you can see here, it not only reaches out to the industrial regions, but it also reaches out to the commercial regions here, as you can see here, and also the residential regions further out, and another commercial district down here. So my railway coverage is very good, and as you can see here, you can check out the train passenger usage over the past few years. It has increased by quite a bit to about 5,000. This will complement the bus usage by quite a lot. As you can see here, bus stations are more pervasive, and hence there's more usage. And this is closely matched with the car usage, although car usage are a bit higher. So you must take note and try to encourage your Sims to use more buses so that there's less congestion in the city. And you can check the traffic tabs for this. There's a bit of congestion here and there already, so you must take note. You can try one thing to reduce the traffic of the city a bit by bit. You can click this button below the query button. This is the route query. It will check how Sims are moving from place to place. For instance, if I click on this building, I can see that 356 commuters are using car and 152 commuters are using buses. And for this, the car usage is a lot lower than the bus because this is a low-wealth building compared to this building. And if you realize the buildings nearby have no bus usage, that means they have very poor usage of buses, which means that you should actually build some bus stops nearby to encourage usage of buses. So you can scroll around the city and check out the huge buildings they have that usually contribute to a lot of traffic. As you can see here, this has a very good bus coverage because a lot of Sims are using buses, and so reducing the congestion of the city. If you realize that no Sims take buses, then put a bus stop near the houses that you have clicked, so that more Sims will use buses and you'll reduce the congestion of the city. So that's one way you can use the route query. And you can also check out each of the roads to see how packed are they and how much people are using the roads. So for instance, at the corners of the city, there's always a lot of traffic going in and out because a lot of Sims are going back and forth to their homes and workplaces. So these are places that you might want to put bus stops in for Sims to transfer to buses before they move out to the nearby city to work. And also, besides checking the traffic, what I want to say is that I have actually expanded a lot of regions here. This is a new commercial region if you haven't noticed. And of course, I've expanded all the rail and road infrastructure. I placed civics like a fire station. I placed plaza, so they are almost perfect. And this is a very nice commercial region. And to increase the beauty of the place, I've demarcated out a pond here, a natural pond that I can't really build any zones in any way. So at the start where I started to develop this area, I actually marked out the region using a square road and planted a lot of trees around the pond. And these trees will grow in time over 5 years or so to 10 years, and they'll grow very big. So right now you can see I have a very nice park with a central pond down here, which probably increased the land value of the region by a lot. and also reduce pollution. So beside it, actually you can see a lot of really nice buildings like this Ferrari INC, which even has a high customer rate, and all these small little buildings that you can see right here. Actually, they are not really small, they are very nice buildings as compared to my city about 50 years ago. And of course, this is my new addition to my city, the small municipal airport. As my city advisor has begged me to build an airport for very long now, so I built a medium airport. When you check out the airport tabs, by clicking the roads tab and this one, there's 3 types of airport you can build. But for cities, for a medium city of size at least 60,000, you must build a small municipal airport compared to the small landing strip, because the small landing strip has insufficient capacity for the city users, so it will end up being overcrowded and you need to upgrade the city where it prompts you to do so. So in the first place, build a larger airport to benefit your city even more. And do not build this small international airport because the city is not too big. So you can query the airport to check out its usage. The usage is 23,000 when the capacity is 54,000, so it's running really well. So if you build a small international airport, you will have excess capacity, and if you build a small landing strip, you will have too little capacity. So build the center tab, the second airport here. And building airports will help you to increase the demand of commercial regions. As you can see here, my commercial demand is very high, even though it may be because of other reasons as well. For one thing, it will decrease the cap on the commercial offices that you have, so it will help to boost commercial demand over the next few years. As you can see here, my commercial offices has grown steadily over 50 years, especially for high-wealth commercial offices, the CO money. And right now, as you can see here, the CO money has crossed the CO money for many years now, which means that the city is prospering very well and more super high wealth commercial offices are emerging as compared to medium wealth commercial offices. And also, you can also check the R money. And as you can see here, only recently the medium wealth residential houses started to cross the low wealth residential houses, which means that a lot of Sims are getting richer and there's a new middle class emerging out from the city because of my successful city planning and the numerous amount of jobs I have. So my resident income is also showing this trend of wealthy Sims at about $55,000. And as you can see here, the city has grown a lot and there's a lot of beautiful high wealth commercial and residential buildings here and there, even though sometimes there's low wealth residential houses also emerging in my city, and you need to learn how to distinguish these buildings. As you can see here, the older and rundown buildings are probably the low wealth residents, and as compared to these beautiful plain view condos, these are probably high wealth residents. And glitzy and nice buildings are probably high wealth, high tech industries as compared to the dirtier and the tank filled and a lot of air coming out. All these are not dirty, all these are manufacturing industries. And when you have played SimCity for a very long time, you'll be able to distinguish the different type of manufacturing and high-tech industries or the different type of residential housing, even though you can also use the query button to check out what type of industries are these, or residential or commercial regions for that matter. As you can see here, my commercial region that I placed decades ago are materializing. There's a lot of pretty buildings over here, a lot of Bring Estate, Reflect System incorporated, and around my mayor's house you can see some splendid buildings coming up. There's a new construction over here, but this is a very ugly building, the Cennetial INC, so demolish this building because it's not very nice. You always have a choice to demolish buildings that you don't like to stop them from growing. And as you can see here, my commercial demand is really high, so I'm hoping more high wealth and nice buildings can come up, like the Tallinn Tower suits over here. So we shall wait for the city to grow even more. And right now I can look back at the data views of my city over the past 100 years. As you can see, commute time is constantly around 55 or so, but in recent time it has increased. And as you can see at the commercial office, the ugly building is coming out again, so I shall demolish it. There's a lot of nice commercial offices that can come out from a city, so do not hesitate to demolish the ugly buildings if you like. And you can also demolish the old buildings that have a lot of problems, old dilapidated and rundown buildings. And check out your power and water supplies, they are alright. And the air pollution has decreased by a lot over the past 100 years because of the phasing out of the dirty industries, and so has the job and population structure change. The water pollution has dropped to 0, or in recent time increased to 2, which is very low and good for the city. And the education levels have of course stayed over 160, which is very good. And you can check the education by age, the population by age. This is a semi-growing population with a very high proportion of middle-aged residents. It's not an aging population yet, so in the future when your city has run by a lot of years, for instance about 150 years or so, you will see that the older sims will stand a larger proportion, and that's when you can try to build other things like libraries that are explained later. And you can check the life expectancy rate that has increased by a lot over the past 100 years because of me building a hospital at around this region of time from about 40 years ago. And you can check the average income. The income expenses has always been fluctuating rapidly. Every time I expand out a new region with new civics and other maintenance stuff like train stations, it will cause my city to run heavily in expenses. And the main thing for me is that I will need my income to bounce back and increase rapidly to catch up with the expenses, so that I will always have a net income. So always check this step to see if your city is running well. And if you see a spike in expenses recently, that means you have built a lot of new buildings that cost a lot of maintenance costs. And if the income doesn't rise, you can consider to demolish some of these high maintenance cost buildings first before rebuilding them in the future. And you can check my fund rates that's fluctuating rapidly because of my major developments in my city, the demand of the various zones, the mayor rating, and of course the traffic volume. And right now, as you can see now, we have a lot of ugly tenements over here, ugly buildings. This is because of the commute time here that is very long. Sometimes when you quarry your city using the root quarry tool, you realize that the commute time is very long. I can show you a building that is high commute time, if I can find one. High commute time will reduce the demand for this type of buildings and cause the buildings to be run down and abandoned. So sometimes the sims may actually flock to the other side of the city to find jobs, and that will be a problem because the city isn't functioning very efficiently. So there's rundown buildings here and there. It could be because of various reasons. One is the commute time, as I'm explaining right now. Another one could be the low demand of the high wealth residents. As you can see here, so this building ended up being a low wealth and rundown building when it's supposed to be a high wealth resident building. And this is very bad because, as you can see here, many sims cannot find a job that they like. So when you build a city, it's very important that you have various types of zones nearby each other, in close proximity to each other. You cannot build your industrial zones too far from residential zones, and you cannot build your commercial too far from residents, and so on. As you can see here, my industrial regions are all lining up the edges of the city for the sims of both cities to get to work, because some sims may be crossing over from the other city to this city to find jobs as well. So you can build these industrial regions at the edges of the city, and I have also a very large industrial region down here. which I've built at the start of my city, and now I'm expanding out to a very large region. And this is my commercial district, and my residential district is all down here. And when you click the zone data, you can see the many types of colors that your city has, the different type of zones, and also what type of industrial zones that you have. For instance, if you have medium density industrials over here, as you can see, you can actually replace them with dense residential by clicking the industrial zoning in the zone data view, and now highlighting over the medium industrial regions they have. This will help to convert the region into a dense industrial region, but without destroying the buildings. So in time to come, all these buildings will convert to high density industrial usage. And similarly for all these residential regions, you can see here that they are actually low and medium density usage. So I shall highlight and replace these zones with high density residential, which will not demolish a building. But of course, if you zone commercial region over a residential region, then it will cause the buildings to be destroyed. So as you can see here, I'm replacing all the medium and low wealth residential usage to high density usage, because the city is growing very rapidly and it needs more space to grow. And so you can actually now zone dense zoning so that your city is able to be more compact and efficient, and also grow a larger city. So you can repeat and try to convert these regions slowly one by one into a denser city, unless you want your city to have a very effect of having different zones at different regions, so that you can clearly mark out the city center and the countryside. It is all up to your own judgment, but for me, I want a large and effectively functioning city. So I shall zone all these like dense residential zones, very much like my country Singapore, where there's little land, and so we end up putting dense regions everywhere. So probably the government is like zoning dense residential and commercial regions everywhere. And as you can see here, the success of my city is really very similar to that of my country. At the start, you see that the buildings are all very run down and very low, and as the city progresses, as I put more civics like education and healthcare, then the high-rise buildings start coming up, and I improve my transportation facilities and all my other stuff. I build airports, I encourage investments, and I also build more rewards deal that help to increase the demand of all these buildings. And so now the city is very rich and prosperous, and very much like my country. The only difference is that at the start of my country's independence, the government started building very old rundown buildings like this, but effective because it will help to zone, it will help to place as much residents in proper housing as possible. This is done by our so-called government board, the Housing Development Board. So all of us, the older generation of Singaporeans, live in HDB flats, and even so today. But of course, HDB flats have improved in quality and quantity over time. So instead of living in this type of old houses, now we are moving in this type of very nice houses like Simon Manor, and among other things, there's also very high wealth residential housing in my country as well, pack-up apartments. And as you can see here, there's the very ugly office that I talked to you about. This building is not very impressive because there's actually another commercial shop that has the same building use. So this building often props up in your city, and this building has used 800 of your high wealth commercial offices, the demand. So it will actually stop other offices, very nice building offices, from growing. So you need to demolish them where you see, and hope that your city grows some nice commercial offices in the future. But this will take some time, of course. But because of a high population rate, as you can see here, my population is already 100,000. That's why my city is growing very well. So in time to come, the commercial offices will develop. And as you can see here, there's a lot of ugly buildings over here. One thing you can do is of course to improve the zoning of the region in the first place before even you develop these zones. But sometimes these are buildings still occur up, and so when there's no choice, you can actually demolish them, which I'll do right now. A horrible demolishment scheme of the government, something of what an authoritative government will do. So I shall convert these residential zones to commercial regions to prevent the old buildings from coming up again, and hopefully to give more jobs to the nearby buildings over here. And so this is all for my city. As you can see here, my city has already developed by a lot, and this is probably what almost all SimCity players are looking out for. A very nice city, a developed city where there's a lot of high rises, unless you're building a agriculture economy with a very old houses that has a very different feeling from a modern city. It's all up to you actually, what type of city you want to build. For me, I like to build very large and bustling metropolis with very organized transportation systems, buildings, and other stuff that makes the city look very beautiful. So right now, since I have actually covered most of the aspects of SimCity 4, I would like to end this tutorial now and say thank you everyone for all the support you have shown me over the past few weeks, and hopefully y'all can build a city of your dreams. And next week I shall see whether I have more time to continue to build my city. And as you can see here, there's a lot of very nice buildings, very nice high-rise buildings over here, high-rise buildings over here, and there's a very nice pond over here. So I shall plant some trees over here, especially in steep terrain where you can't build parks, to increase the land value of the region and to beautify the city. These small trees will grow over time, so don't worry. And next week is my country's National Day. So right here, I wish my country a happy National Day, and of course a great holiday for all my fellow Singaporeans. Although not much Singaporeans watch this video, but I'm very glad that a lot of people from all around the world watch this video, and they probably learn more about SimCity and also a bit more about my country, the culture, how is it like. And in many ways, as I said just now, SimCity reflects my country from a very undeveloped state to a very developed state. It's in fact a city engineered by a good team of government, and the city has prevailed over all the challenges it has faced over the past few decades. And in a short amount of time, the city has grown to a beautiful metropolis. So right here, I wish my country a happy National Day. And as you can see here, these are very nice bridges that I built over my city. And right now I shall let you all enjoy my city by playing some missions of driving. For instance, the bus driving mission that helps me to earn a conference center. But in the first place, if you build an airport, then you earn a conference center already. Airports and conference centers help to increase the demand for commercial offices. But this is to show you the nice view of my city, and the stark contrast it is as compared to the first episode where I started to play the You Drive It mission. So now you can enjoy my city in full view, and I hope that y'all can similarly build a very nice city of your own that you like. And thank you everyone for watching this episode of my SimCity 4 tutorial. I hope y'all have a good day, and hopefully I'll be back next week for more episodes and more more of my own, own opinions and thoughts on how to improve my city. And one thing is that I'm actually punished by my superiors for doing something really stupid, so I may not actually get to get back home to make a new video next week. I'll be probably staying in camp. I don't know. It's a week-long punishment in camp where I am confined to the campsite and not be able to go home. And of course, there's a lot of stupid punishment that they have over there, like marching over the region. I don't know if it's the same for your military in other countries like the United States. Well, but either way, I think my tutorial has covered a lot, and as you can see here, I'm dragging on my tutorial by a lot. So let's not hesitate and let's start the mission right now. And I hope you all will enjoy the view of my city and that you'll inspire you to make a city of your own. Thank you everyone, and see you soon.